Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The saga surrounding Terry McLaurin and the Washington Commanders is heating up as a crucial deadline approaches that could finally clarify the wide receiver's future with the team. Despite a trade request that sent shockwaves through the fan base, insiders emphasize that both McLaurin and the Commanders should still be working on a contract extension. This ongoing tug-of-war seems complicated by financial demands and internal negotiations, yet it remains the most logical path forward for both sides. McLaurin's value is undeniable, especially after his impressive performances. But General Manager Adam Peters remains firm on his valuation, refusing to meet the asking price. The tension, however, hasn't reached a breaking point, even if. The relationship between McLaurin and the front office is more strained than fans might realize. A pivotal moment looms with the Cutdown day, which insiders say will reveal exactly where the two parties stand. It's this looming deadline that has everyone on edge, waiting for a definitive signal of McLaurin's fate. Cutdown Day is shaping up as the make-or-break moment in this drama, offering a clear indicator of whether McLaurin will start the season with the Commanders or if something more drastic awaits. According to Linnell Willingham from 106.7 The Fan, this date will provide critical insight into the negotiations, especially if a new contract isn't secured by then. One complicating factor is McLaurin's status on the physically unable to perform PUP List, which adds a layer of complexity to the situation. McLaurin reportedly has an ankle injury, though many fans are skeptical, suspecting it might be a strategic move to avoid hefty fines for missing camp. This PUP designation allows McLaurin to collect game checks without actually playing, a scenario that could stretch for weeks if the deadlock continues. The financial stakes are high, with McLaurin earning around $850,000 per game, making it unlikely he'd voluntarily sit out without compensation. The PUP List situation underscores the delicate balance between player health, team management, and contract negotiations. McLaurin's ankle injury, or the perception of one, is a pivotal bargaining chip in this saga, raising questions about the authenticity of his absence. For the Commanders, this creates a tricky situation. They need to protect their interests without alienating their star wideout further. Adam Peters, the general manager, is navigating this tightrope carefully, holding firm on a price point that McLaurin's representatives find unacceptable. This impasse has contributed to the frayed relationship between player and team, but neither side wants a public fallout. The next few weeks, especially leading up to Cutdown Day, will be critical in either bridging the gap or confirming that a split is inevitable. Fans remain hopeful for a resolution that sees McLaurin on the field, but the undercurrents of tension are impossible to ignore. The financial implications for both McLaurin and the Commanders during this holdout phase are significant. If McLaurin remains on the PUP list as the season starts, he would continue to draw a paycheck despite not playing, a scenario that is costly but perhaps necessary if the contract impasse persists. For McLaurin, the monetary aspect cannot be overlooked, as sitting out without pay is not an option. Conversely, the Commanders face the risk of starting the season without one of their best offensive weapons, which could hamper their performance and fan support. This complex dynamic places pressure on Adam Peters and the front office to find common ground quickly. The window to activate a player from PUP to the active roster is narrow. Missing that deadline could mean McLaurin misses multiple games. Such a scenario would be a lose-lose for everyone involved, increasing the urgency for a contract agreement. Despite the apparent friction, no one in the organization is publicly contemplating moving McLaurin just yet. The team's commitment to keeping him indicates that while talks are tough, the Commanders still see McLaurin as a cornerstone of their offense. This loyalty suggests that the conflict is less about McLaurin's value and more about navigating contract expectations. The wide receiver's recent trade request might have been a negotiation tactic rather than a genuine desire to leave, aimed at shaking up the front office's stance. What complicates matters is the inability of both sides to find a middle ground. On financial terms, As the deadline approaches, it becomes clear that the team's patience is being tested, but their focus remains on retaining their top talent. The next steps will be critical in determining whether this standoff ends amicably or escalates. Behind the scenes, the pressure is mounting on Adam Peters to engineer a solution that balances financial prudence with team morale. Peters' refusal to meet McLaurin's representatives' demands isn't just about money, it's also a message about valuation and precedent for future contracts. The front office is likely considering the broader implications of this deal on their salary cap and roster flexibility. Meanwhile, McLaurin and his camp appear to be leveraging his recent on-field success and the struggles of other receivers during a New England trip to strengthen their negotiating position. This power play could either force the Commanders to reconsider or deepen the stalemate. Regardless of the outcome, it's clear that neither side is eager for a public showdown, making this a high-stakes game of negotiation and strategy behind closed doors. For fans watching this unfold, the hope is that McLaurin will be suited up and ready to go when the Commanders kick off their season against the New York Giants. While the negotiation drama plays out, the ultimate goal for everyone is to see the wide receiver contributing on the field. The potential 7 games he could miss if the PUP and activation windows aren't managed carefully could significantly impact Washington's season trajectory. Moreover, having McLaurin on the field would quell much of the speculation and negativity surrounding this contract saga. From the fan perspective, the journey to a deal is less important than the destination, which is seeing their star player perform at his best. The next few weeks are therefore critical in shaping not just the roster, but the overall mood and optimism around the Commanders. McLaurin's situation is a microcosm of the challenges teams face balancing player demands with organizational strategy. His case highlights the evolving nature of NFL contracts, where negotiations can spill into preseason and impact team preparations. The wide receivers' hold-in tactics, injury reports, and public stance all factor into a complex equation that tests the front office's negotiation skills and patience. For Washington, this is more than just a contract dispute. It's about maintaining trust and unity within a team hungry for success. How Peters manages this delicate balance will set the tone for future dealings with key players. The stakes are high, and the resolution, or lack thereof, could ripple through the entire organization for years to come. Ultimately, the McLaurin Commanders saga underscores the human element behind professional sports contracts. Beyond the numbers and headlines, there are personalities, ambitions, and emotions at play. McLaurin wants to secure his financial future and be valued fairly, while the Commanders seek to build a competitive team without compromising their fiscal strategy. The approaching Cutdown day is more than just a roster deadline, it's a crossroads that could define both the player's career and the franchise's direction. Whether through a renewed contract or a continued stalemate, this moment will resonate far beyond just the field. Fans, analysts, and insiders alike are watching closely, hoping for a resolution that benefits everyone involved and keeps McLaurin's talents in Washington's colors. As this drama continues, one thing is certain: the Washington Commanders and Terry McLaurin's story is far from over. The coming days will be filled with speculation, negotiations, and perhaps some surprises. For now, the focus remains on the Cutdown day as the ultimate barometer of progress. This deadline promises to deliver clarity on McLaurin's status and could either mark a turning point or the beginning of a new chapter in the saga. Whatever happens, it's clear that both parties want to avoid a public fallout and focus on what's best for the team and player. As fans hold their breath, the hope is that the narrative concludes with McLaurin lining up for the Commanders come game day, ready to shine on the gridiron once again. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. A bombshell rumor is swirling in the NFL universe, and it's shaking up the Washington Commanders landscape like never before. Imagine this. The Commanders, in a stunning and secretive last-minute move, might be negotiating to bring back none other than Chase Young. Yes, you heard that right. Chase Young, the defensive powerhouse who once dominated the field and stirred fear in opposing quarterbacks, could be making a surprise return to Washington. The whispers suggest that behind closed doors, a whirlwind of discussions is unfolding. The timing of this possible deal? Impossibly tight, with the market buzzing over a clandestine agreement emerging almost out of nowhere. Sources close to the situation hint that the Commanders' front office is pushing hard to rekindle that flame, aiming to recapture the defensive dominance that Young once symbolized. This wouldn't just be any trade, it might be a game changer for their defensive strategy going forward. Chase Young's story with the Commanders has been a roller coaster filled with high hopes, flashes of brilliance, and admittedly a few setbacks. When he first burst onto the scene, he was hailed as a generational talent, a defensive end who could reshape games with his raw power and speed. Yet injuries and the evolving team dynamics led to moments of uncertainty about his future in Washington. Now, the rumor mill suggests that the Commanders are ready to rewrite this narrative, perhaps seeing a golden opportunity to bring back that elite edge. The source of the deal remains murky, but there's talk about a last-minute negotiation, a covert agreement struck under the radar while most eyes were elsewhere. This secrecy only adds fuel to the speculation fire. Could this be the Commanders' bold move to shock the league and reignite their defense? If the rumors hold water, this potential deal isn't just about bringing back a familiar face, it's about strategy, timing, and perhaps redemption. The Commanders have struggled defensively in recent seasons, and landing Chase Young back in their ranks could signal a seismic shift in their approach. What's intriguing is the secret deal angle. It's almost cinematic, a high-stakes move done in whispers and shadows, catching rival teams off guard. There's talk that the Commanders might have offered an enticing package to secure Young's return, possibly involving draft picks or other assets. The intrigue deepens when you consider the timing, right before crucial phases of the season, possibly disrupting opponents' preparations. Fans and analysts alike are buzzing, wondering if this is the masterstroke that puts Washington back on the defensive map, or just another hopeful gambit. Chase Young's impact on the field is undeniable, and his presence alone could change the dynamic in the locker room and on the sidelines. The speculation about this secret trade suggests the Commanders might be betting big on his talent and leadership to lift the team's morale and competitive spirit. We've heard murmurs that the coaching staff has been pushing for a defensive overhaul, and what better way than to reintroduce a player who knows the system and has the potential to dominate. Some insiders even suggest that Young's return could influence other free agents or trades, creating a ripple effect throughout the league. The Commanders might be signaling to the NFL that they're serious contenders ready to shake up the balance of power. This rumor has all the elements of a blockbuster, and the suspense is building with every passing hour. On the flip side, skeptics are questioning whether this move could backfire. Chase Young's injury history and time away from the Commanders' current system raise concerns about fit and durability. There's chatter that while the Commanders want to bring him back, they're also hedging their bets, perhaps attaching performance-based conditions to the deal. The notion of a secret last-minute trade sounds thrilling, but it also implies high risk and uncertainty. Critics argue that banking on Young's return might overshadow the need to develop younger talent or pursue other defensive options. Still, the Commanders' willingness to dive into such a potentially complex negotiation highlights their urgency to change the narrative around their defense. The rumor, if true, could either herald a bold renaissance or a risky gamble with the team's future. From a league perspective, this possible deal is generating a ripple effect among other franchises. If the Commanders are indeed orchestrating a secretive move to reacquire Chase Young, other teams might scramble to adjust their own strategies. Players and agents are watching closely, wondering how this might shift market dynamics and player valuations. Some insiders speculate that this could trigger a mini domino effect, prompting trades or signings aimed at countering Washington's newfound defensive muscle. The clandestine nature of the negotiations suggests the Commanders didn't want competitors to have time to respond, which is a classic play in high-stakes sports business. For the fans, this adds a thrilling narrative of intrigue and anticipation that extends far beyond the field. One can't ignore the emotional element wrapped up in this rumor. Chase Young's bond with the Commanders fan base and the city itself runs deep, and the idea of his return is stirring a sense of nostalgia and hope. Social media is already lighting up with speculation, memes, and passionate debates about what this could mean for the team's future. Some fans are nostalgic for the early days when Young's presence alone could energize the stadium, while others remain cautiously optimistic about what this means in the bigger picture. The possibility of his comeback is being framed as a story of redemption and second chances, a narrative that sports fans love to rally behind. The energy surrounding this potential deal is palpable and spreading rapidly. Behind the scenes, the Commanders' management might be playing a delicate balancing act. Negotiating such a secretive trade involves not just player contracts and team dynamics, but also public relations and fan engagement. Sources suggest that keeping the talks under wraps was a strategic move to control the narrative and avoid external pressures. The timing of leaks or announcements, if any, could be carefully orchestrated to maximize impact. There's also talk about how this could influence the coaching staff's planning and preseason preparations. The Commanders might be hoping that by securing Young quietly, they create an element of surprise and gain a psychological edge. The complexity of this rumored deal highlights the multi-layered chess game happening behind the scenes in professional sports. Financial implications are another piece of this intricate puzzle. Chase Young's contract negotiations and salary cap considerations could have made this trade difficult to pull off openly. The notion of a secret deal hints at creative maneuvering to balance budget constraints while acquiring a high-profile talent. Experts speculate that the Commanders might have restructured contracts, deferred payments, or included performance incentives to make the trade feasible. This financial gymnastics, if true, would demonstrate the front office's commitment to assembling a competitive roster while maintaining fiscal responsibility. Such moves often carry long-term consequences, but the Commanders might be betting that the immediate defensive upgrade justifies the risks. The economic angle adds another layer of intrigue to this unfolding story. Finally, what's next in this swirling saga? If the rumors solidify into confirmation, the NFL world will be watching closely how Chase Young reintegrates into the Commanders. Setup. Will he reclaim his status as a defensive titan? Or will the challenges that once held him back resurface? The team's chemistry, the coaching adjustments, and the locker room dynamics will all come under scrutiny. This possible trade could redefine Washington's season trajectory and reignite discussions about their competitiveness in the league. For now, the secret deal remains a tantalizing whisper, a suspense-filled possibility that keeps fans and analysts on edge. Whether it turns into reality or not, the mere rumor has already injected a fresh wave of excitement and speculation into the NFL offseason chatter. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.